Welcome to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. Every Wednesday, Mark and Kim, along with their special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Mark and Kim will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience, and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Mark and Kim are tested, certified, and professional spiritual mediums, metaphysical teachers, healers, and spiritual advisors with their own individual spiritual practices in Seattle, Washington, and Los Angeles, California. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Hello, inspired listeners. How are you today? Welcome to another Wisdom Wednesday of Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim here on the OMTimes Radio Network. I am your host, Mark Lanehart, the Intuitive Prospector. We have a fantastic show for you today, so we're going to try to dive into all of the details just as soon as we can. If you want to learn more about the work that I'm doing in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklanehart.com. You can catch me every Monday morning for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays on the Intuitive Prospector page. And any events that you want to do with me, whether it's a Forest Friday hike, coming to my spiritual demonstrations and mediumship, or just doing a little bit of spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual gold, please visit marklanehart.com or just internet search The Intuitive Prospector. Just for the sake of time, because we have a lot to get to today, I want to bring on my co-host, my fabulous co-host, Kim Thalken, founder of Love First in Richmond, Virginia. Hi, Kim. How are you today?
Hey there, Mark. Hi, inspired listeners. I'm so excited to be here today. We've got a great show ahead of us, talking about the angels. That always gets people's attention. So I think it's going to have a lot of fun. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. If you'd like to learn more about the work that I'm doing in the way of readings, healings, or hypnosis, you can do so at my website at lovefirst.info. I also just posted a new video on YouTube with the title Unity Consciousness, Taking Responsibility, Transcending and Dissolving Separation. So I hope you enjoy that. There's a lot of information in there just based on some recent experiences I've had. And I have also uploaded all of the Inspired Living shows on my YouTube channel. That was quite an endeavor. So visit me on YouTube under Kimberly Thalken and subscribe. I'd love to have you be a part of that community and get notified when new videos come out. And in the meantime, thank you for being here with us today. It's great to be here. If you would like to interact with us on social media, you can find us on Facebook under Inspired Living Radio, Twitter and Instagram under Inspired for Us, Google Plus, Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. You can interact with us. You can send through your questions. You can learn about upcoming shows. You can also send through your comments and be a part of our community. We love that. If you'd like to listen to all of our archives, you can do that on OMTimes Radio, Podbean, SoundCloud, marklanehart.com, YouTube, iTunes, lovefirst.info, and now you can do it on my YouTube channel too, which I think, Mark, you've done the same. So there's so many different places in which you can stay connected with us, and we would love to do that. And I think that is it. If you'd like to call in and ask any questions for our guests or for us today, you can do so at 202-570-7057. Mark, did I miss anything, or back to you?
Well, no, it just sounds like you've been really busy. I understand the whole loading all of when we've had 3 seasons of Inspired Living Radio. That's over 100 and probably 60 podcasts that we've done in the 3 years that we've been on the air. And I know that work of adding each video to your playlist. I, too, have a YouTube playlist. Just look for the Intuitive Prospector. But each week now I add the podcast. So it's a little bit more manageable than a 160-plus podcast. But, you know, once you see that whole library, Kim, in your YouTube library and your playlist, it's amazing on how many amazing guests topics we've covered in the 3 seasons of Inspired Living Radio. Everything from, medicine, metaphysics, spirituality, sports, and today we're going to be talking about the angels. But with every month we have our Inspired Living Positive Affirmation as well. So this is no different. You're going to need this positive affirmation, especially as the retrograde starts today, just in a few hours, as we head into Mercury retrograde, which is Mercury is the master of all communications, if you will. So this Inspired Living positive affirmation is what you're going to need, especially as we move into a full blood moon lunar eclipse on Friday. So a lot of energy in the air, a lot of frequency and different vibrations. But this month's positive affirmation is: every hurdle I jump over only strengthens my self-confidence and determination. Every hurdle I jump over only strengthens my self-confidence and determination. And this month's Inspired Living Radio Positive Affirmation is sponsored by Prime My Body affiliate Awareness, from soil to oil, and one of the best absorption-rated nano-enhanced hemp oils on the market, an all-natural plant-based supplement with no psychoactive highs and legal in all 50 states. From liquid hemp oil, hemp-infused skin moisturizer, hemp protein superfood, or a simple liver detoxification system, start achieving your health and your wellness goals naturally from the leaves and rootstock of this amazing, healing, and ancient plant, hemp. Your health is your wealth. For more information, please visit awareness.primemybody.com. And I can tell you, I've been on the CBD oil for 5 months now, and the protein superfood of this hemp plant, and I feel amazing, guys. So you definitely want to check that out. And there are a positive affirmation sponsor for the month of July. So with that, let's get into the angels. I always like to do my chimes, Kim, when I'm talking about angels. It just seems very angelic.
It's fitting.
So,
it is fitting.
Isn't it? It just makes sense. So today's guest is Chrissie Astell, and she is one of the most highly qualified and experienced angel teachers and writers in the UK. She is live on the line with us right now, so we're very honored to have her on Inspired Living Radio to talk about the angels and to talk about her new deck. But she holds a BA honors in cooperative religion, including angelology, mysticism, followed by a postgraduate certificate in spiritual development and facilitation and adult education. So she's been doing her studies. She knows her stuff. She is also one of the 7 acknowledged and authorized spiritual educators within the Spiritual Companions Program founded by Dr. William Bloom. Chrissie is recognized widely in the spiritual media, writing for magazines such as Spirit and Destiny and Soul and Spirit. Her television appearances include the BBC's Kilroy, I Believe in Angels, ITV's Christmas special Angels Are Everywhere, and a BBC Everyman document on angels, and she's a regular guest speaker on radio chat shows like today with Inspired Living Radio for our global audience. Chrissie and her work have been featured on radio, TV, and in national and international press, no different as she's joining us live from the UK today. And if you want to check out more of what Chrissie is doing in the UK, visit her website at angellight.co.uk. Chrissie, welcome to Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim.
Hi, hello, thank you. Gosh, what a welcome.
Well, that's what we like to do for our guests. We have a lot of fun here on Inspired Living Radio. So for our inspired listeners, we always like to say, you are the inspired and the inspiration, and that's no different for you, Chrissie. You are the inspired and the inspiration, because today we want to talk about the angels. Huge following. I know, Kim, that you were just talking about the angels in a demonstration that you just did 2 weeks ago when you were in LA, Encino, California, and there was a great interest in that. But today, let's talk about the Guardian Angel Oracle, 52 cards for angelic inspiration, wisdom, and guidance. Ready, Chrissie? Go.
Yeah. This is a lovely opportunity to tell people about this pack, which has been republished. It came out a few years ago as the Angel Insight Pack, published by Watkins Publishing, which is one of the oldest and most established of all the spiritual publishers here in the UK. And it was absolutely amazing to have the opportunity of doing it, because they wanted to produce a beautifully illustrated Angel Oracle pack that anybody, basically, people could take a card, and without having to learn what the meaning is, or without having to open a book, they could see from the picture just exactly what the inspiration was, what the symbols are from the colours, and it's just beautiful. I don't know if they kindly sent you a copy, but the colours are absolutely amazing. I can't take any credit for the art. I only had the inspiration of the words and the meanings as I channeled each one separately. But I can only tell you that the magic of the colour is phenomenal. I even had an email from a blind lady in Ireland. I didn't know that she had she was blind, but she emailed me and said, "Can you tell me please when these cards are going to, because the colours are helping me so much." And I didn't even know that she was blind until she put at the bottom, "My friend is writing this for me as I'm completely blind." But she could tell, you see, she could see the colour through her third eye. So every card of the 52 is a different message. It has a different word on it. It represents an angel of that particular quality, such as knowledge, wisdom, joy, forgiveness, all of the wonderful qualities that we're aiming for. So I had a great deal of fun doing them, and now I'm delighted that they've been republished and they're back on the market. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, that is great. I don't actually have the cards. I got the download for the guidebook, but yeah, I'd love to get a deck of the cards. Maybe talk to Watkins Publishing and see if they can send me a deck here all the way out in Seattle, Washington, just so I could put my hands on the cards. I think that's always important. But I do have the guidebooks. I just need the cards. But Chrissie, with everything, I always like to say that a shakening causes an awakening on our spiritual journey. And I'm sure somewhere along the way, before these cards were manifested and brought into our reality to put among people's hands and people that see and people that don't see but see through their third eye of color, how did you first come in contact with the angels? How did you feel their presence in your life? Was there a shaking that caused an awakening that the angels made themselves known to you? And just talk a little bit about what put you on this path to be sharing this message with us today?
Oh, there was definitely a shaking and awakening, I think.
Usually is.
Absolutely. This is exactly, without those marvelous words, but in my own way, this is exactly what I tell people. Usually you get down to the pit of your existence, right down to the bottom, and then something nudges you back up to the top. And it's that awakening process I certainly went through. I was really unhappy. I would say towards the end of the 1990s, I was seeking a way out of the life I was living. So much so that I actually completely changed my life, from running a business with my then husband, living in a really lovely house with two gorgeous kids that were growing up. I really hated my job. I hated my life, and I became very ill, very clinically depressed. And I just literally shouted out to the heavens, either take me now or help me and show me what to do. And I stumbled across a woman who was a marriage guidance counselor. Incidentally, I went on my own. My husband wouldn't come with me, so I went on my own. And this lady happened to be very spiritual. I don't know if you're familiar with Orosoma, but she had Orosoma bottles. These are these beautiful coloured bottles that are flower essences and oils. And I was very drawn to a couple of them. And throughout the counselling, I just happened to say, what are those bottles? And she explained to me that the angels had brought me because I had work to do. So it was a huge shift in my entire life that took me to the angels. But interestingly for me, my parents were both very spiritual, very mystical. They had me and then they separated and went on their different ways. My father became a mystic and a healer, and my mother went to America, built a commune, channeled angels and ascended masters, and yet neither of them brought me up. So here I am doing exactly the same thing, but entirely on my own without their influence. So it's fascinating because clearly it's in the genes, And the reason why I was so ill was because I was suppressing it. It was very, very difficult. I think sometimes you're just guided to be in the right place at the right time for whatever is needed next.
Yeah, just that fully surrendering too, of, hold on and get dragged or let go and be free. There's a lot of truth to that, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Let go, let God.
Let go, let God. Yeah. Sometimes the ego doesn't want to do that, and we can actually say the ego is edging God out, right? So, what are some of the experiences? Because when people hear about the angels, I know that I personally have had experiences myself with actually seeing an angel, walking with two angels, my near-death experience when I was 5 years old. What are some experiences that you'd like to share today that guided you in those difficult situations of wanting to give up and feeling like maybe that you're alone and just life throwing a lot of stuff, as life does, right? Life throws a lot of changes at us. But what are some intimate experiences that you'd like to share with the audience today about how the angels came to you, contacted you? Did they sit down and have a cup of tea with you? Did they come to your dreams? Did they appear right as we're talking today? What are some of the experiences that you've had with the angels?
I think the most profound was when I had already been doing this work. I'd already been running workshops. I'd already been doing lots of interviews. I was really frustrated because although people could see angels around me, I couldn't see angels myself. And so I was happily teaching people how to connect. I was teaching people meditation, teaching them about the different ways of getting back into spiritual life, and then pulled out. And I said, look, I've rededicated my entire life to you because I left my marriage, I left my business, I left my beautiful home. And I just went off on my own to go back to nursing, lots of, cleaning, all sorts of things that I was doing to support myself. And then I went to university in my mid-40s. But it was whilst I was at university, and it was when I was very frustrated, and I sort of shouted to the heavens and said, look, I've dedicated my entire life to you. Everybody can see angels around me, and yet I cannot see you. Why don't you show yourself to me? And that's when I looked out of the window in the apartment where I was living, and I saw a huge white light coming towards me. And then the white light turned hands, hair, and two pairs of wings, one huge pair of wings going up into the head, and then a pair of wings folded around the back. And as I stared, almost bewildered by this incredible vision, two hands came out towards me. And there was no face. I couldn't see a face. I could only see the brightest light. And I felt overwhelmed with emotion. I'm sure you know exactly the feeling I'm talking about, because you feel almost that is indescribable, the kind of love that you've never experienced before. And that was the kind of love that I felt. And I felt I knew this angel. The angel was very masculine, very powerful, but I knew him and he knew me. And then the angel went onto his side and floated back off into the heavens and left in the sky the most incredible cerise heart, which I then interpreted as being the signature of the angel. And the angel was telling me that love is the realm from which he came, and love is the message that this is what we're sharing. We're sharing everything we do, all the stuff that we do for free and with love and just sharing and teaching, is to spread the idea that nothing else really matters, and it comes in many forms. And that was my most powerful experience. I've had so many, but that one really changed my life. That really, really was the most powerful.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing, and I agree with you. Love is what connects our world to the unseen world, the angelic realm. The other dimension is the power of love. And as you were giving as you were sharing that story, you cut out a little bit, and I always wonder if that's the angel's way of just being close to you. You know, they always impact the frequency and the energy, and so hopefully that came through, and that'll be on the podcast. But we're going to go to our first break here, but we'll pick up. It was interesting you talked about them being faceless too. That was my experience with my first angel experience. Was they didn't have faces, and they were neither male nor female. So there's our cue for our next break. So stick around as we are going to continue the conversation of the Guardian Angel Oracle 52 cards for angelic inspiration, wisdom, and guidance with our special guest today, Chrissie Astell.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Are you seeking answers to life questions? Would you like to connect to a departed loved one? Are you suffering from pain, stress, or anxiety? Kimberly Thalkin is a tested, certified, and professional psychic, spiritual medium, energy healer, hypnotherapist, and the founder of Love First, where life transformations happen. Love First services support, guide, and empower individuals by connecting them to their highest potential to live a healthier, joyful, and meaningful life that's filled with purpose. All services can be done by phone, Skype, or in person in Encino, California. Please visit lovefirst.info. That's LOVEFIRST.info for more information.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
I'm Fidel Nsombo. I was born in a city called Bukavu in the Congo. We were a loving family, and then, boom, everything that I had disappeared in a single day. People think that when you are a refugee and they resettle you to America and all your problems are done. They don't understand that that's the beginning of everything. I was not born a refugee. I was made one.
It's time we welcome refugee families with open arms. Learn more at embracerefugees.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Inspired Living Radio with Mark and Kim. Our very special guest today, calling in all the way from the UK, Chrissie Astell, one of the highly qualified and experienced angel teachers and writers. I believe you're in Essex. Is that correct, Chrissie?
I am.
Yeah.
About 50 miles from London.
Yeah, and I know the area. I'll be actually in your
Mark,
neck of the woods come November.
Mark.
Yes.
Mark, I'm sorry.
Yeah?
I lost internet connection, and we have a storm going on out here, so I'm not sure what's going on. So I can't get any of your messages.
Okay. We're welcome to retrograde.
Okay.
We were just coming back from the break here. So, Chrissie, as far as you're 50 miles outside of London and Essex, and I was just saying I'll be there in November. I study at a college there, Arthur Findlay College up in Stansted. So I come up. Yeah, I've been going for the last 5 years.
20 minutes away from the Arthur Findlay College. Isn't that a wonderful coincidence?
Yeah, well, maybe we can do tea. I'll be there for 2 weeks in November, very first part of November. But as far as just picking up where we left off, we talked about the angels being faceless. And I thought that was kind of interesting when you said that, because that's the experience you've had. That's the experience I've had. They weren't male, they weren't female, they were very tall. When you're 5 years old, I guess angels tend to be very tall. But they didn't have a face, and they walked me around as I was in my coma, showing me around, holding my hand on each side. And I know Kim has had some experiences with angels as well. Kim, did you have, with your angel experience, were they also faceless? I'm just wondering.
You know, I just see them kind of in my mind's eye, and I feel their presence. I haven't seen them in the physical in that way. It's more in my mind's eye, and then I feel the energy when I'm working with the angelic realm. So that's what my experience has been.
When you see them in the mind's eye, do they come across with a face though, or are they just faceless? I'm just wondering. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's more of a presence, I guess. It's more of a presence. That's how, and then I hear them, so that's how I know which one is speaking to me of the archangels. So that's how I discern, but I haven't seen them. They don't show up in different faces and so forth.
Things that make you go, that song's playing in my head here. So Chrissie, you've had the shaking and the cause the awakening. You put this beautiful deck together, the Guardian Angel 52 cards for angelic inspiration, wisdom, and guidance. I like how you created them without having to know all these meanings behind them, more of just a picture, colors, which are very important. What's your favorite thing to talk about the angels when you're sharing your experiences?
Yeah, the deck came after 3 or 4 books. So I'd already done loads of research. I did a book about how angels are in absolutely every religion and every culture. They're not particularly aligned to one faith. They're for everybody. They're universal. So I wanted to show people how there's nothing particularly religious. They are spiritual, and they're in every religion and every culture. So I came to a place when I finally did the card set. I'd already written books about the way angels appear in people's lives, about how they are in all the cultures, and also I'd already done lots of books on symbolism. So these cards contain lots of symbols too, and I just wanted people to feel them. You know how Kim was saying how she gets a presence and she feels the angelic presence. Seeing them. I wanted people to be able to take a card and use each card as a method of connecting to their own personal spiritual impulse. That was kind of where I was coming from with this. Not to be used as necessarily as oracles, not necessarily for telling the future, but telling them what's going on in their life. And I felt that was a good way of helping people. It's all about serving, isn't it? It's all about helping. Yeah. But for me, the Guardian Angel Oracle pack is a lovely way of connecting with people. I give these away a lot. If I'm doing a Mind, Body, Spirit event or a talk, everyone gets a card. Everyone gets to choose a card. They take it home with them. I invite them to work with the energy of what they've just taken. But for me, angels are pure light. So I'm really in the process of trying to get people away from the embodiment of that angel to the light of the angel, the energy of it, and to connect with the essence rather than worrying about the form. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Now, you talked about symbology. What are some examples of the symbology that angels would use? You know, as a medium, I know that the spirit world connects with me through the power of symbology and how symbologies can help us with the messages of evidence that we're giving. How do the angels, or what kind of symbology would be reflective on these cards, or what do angels do when it comes to symbology to make that connection, or give us a message, or let us know of their presence around us?
Well, as you know, we're all unique and we're all different. So I, first of all, like people to try and work out how they personally connect best. So if they, like Kim, if they're really lucky and they can hear the message, that's marvelous. They'll hear it in lyrics, perhaps in a song, or which may be repeated several times in one radio show. You know how that sometimes works?
I do.
or
all too well.
Yeah, and they'll hear it on a radio show, and then they'll hear the same tune when they switch on the TV, or they walk into a different room, that kind of thing. Or they may hear a sound, they may hear their name being called, or they may hear the message. But if they're not clairaudient, if they don't hear, they need to watch out for how they feel it best. They might have a tingle on the scalp. They can train themselves to work out whether it's a yes or a no symbol on their skin, a sensation, a temperature thing, or a tickling sensation. Or my father used to do that, by the way. He taught himself whether it was a yes or a no, and how dangerous the level of significance was the strength of the feeling on his skin. But you may want to, people don't always see or hear, so they may find things. And I always say, ask the angels to show you in a way that's unique to you how best to take the next stage of your life. So if they want the answer to a question, if they've got a pack of cards, then brilliant, they can ask to be shown. Or if they're very literate and they like to find words, they can literally go and take a book from their bookshelf and say, okay, angels, show me through the words of this book what it is I need to learn, or what I need to do next. And then just take some deep breaths, and then open the book anywhere randomly and read a sentence. If you're the kind of person that has vivid dreams, then I say let the angels talk to you through your dreams. If you're very physical, you may see something like, here in England we have buses with advertising on the sides. So, as you know, so if they ask for a message, they may see, I don't know, a movie being advertised, or a new book, or the name of someone, and those words may be very significant. Or they find a feather, or they find, but not just a feather, not just an ordinary little feather. They may find a particularly interesting feather, or a very large feather, and they have to think, what was I thinking about? What is this confirming for me, or what's the affirmation that's here in this sign? It's fascinating. I get people to write down how they best learned at school, and then I give them a memory to think about. Maybe say your first happy birthday party that you went to, or something like that, and then I ask them to close their eyes and think of that memory, and which is the strongest. Is it the sound, the smell? Is it the color? Is it the feeling? Or is it just the happy, joyful sensation they get? And from that, then we talk about all the different ways that each of us as individuals pick up the signs. And then if you're really lucky, like, you're trained in mediumship or psychic awareness or whatever, then, of course, you start to zone in and discern an even deeper connection. But for the beginners, I call myself the match girl, and I say, think of me as striking a match and lighting the tiniest little flame of interest, spark and insight, and then you go away and you turn up that flame or not, depending on your own level of interest. But it's kind of, for me, it's sowing seeds and igniting the little pilot light. And then I love coaching people and mentoring people to get to a level where they don't need me anymore, because they can go off and just go to when you go to your first workshop or your first meditation group ever, and you sit amongst a group of strangers and you think, what on earth am I doing here? I don't know what this is about. It's scary. It's, stretching all my comfort zones here. And then you look back at that and you think, wow, what happened? Because now that's the most comfortable place in the world. I love sitting in a circle with like-minded people, and we're all equal. And we're all just meditating together, or we're talking to angels together. And that's only because we've all grown. Like you say, you have a shake-up and then you move forward. You dust yourself off and you get on with life, but with a different perspective. That's my aim. So the angels come in and they help you and they show you the people. They bring the people into your life if you ask them. Kim was saying she works with the archangels, or she likes to communicate with the archangels and she knows who they are. And I'm doing lots and lots more work with the archangel Metatron right now. And he seems to be coming through to lots of people, bringing all sorts of amazing information. And one of the oldest energies in the universe, because of course we know that Metatron was the Desert Father, Enoch, who founded some of the most important wisdom in ancient literature. So it's fascinating that all this stuff is not new, and yet it's all coming back in marvelous, magical ways. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Kim, are you still on the line with us?
I am. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, just making sure. I know you had a couple questions for Chrissie as well.
Yeah, I was wondering if you would give an example of how you work with your angel deck, and if you wanted to pull a card and just give a message to the audience for today that they might find helpful.
Yeah, certainly will. I'd love to. I've got the deck in front of me. There are 4 suits. There are 4 suits in the little pack. There are cards with Michael messages.
Hold that thought for one moment there. We're going to our next break here, and we'll be back in 2 minutes, and we'll continue on with our inspirational message for today.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Mark Lanehart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Mark's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Mark's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklanehart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Tune in to The Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
America's service members and veterans are strong, forged out of bravery, sacrifice, and duty. Sometimes reaching out for help can be the most challenging and worthwhile mission of all. When you recognize something isn't right, make the call to the Veterans Crisis Line or Military Crisis Line. Dial 1-800-273-8255 and press 1.
And welcome back to Inspired Living. And joining us today is our guest, Chrissie Astell. We are getting ready to receive a message today from her deck of cards in the Guardian Angel Oracle, which is a 52-card deck for angelic inspiration, wisdom, and guidance. And so before we went to break, Chrissie was going to pull a card for us for our inspired community of a message from the angels.
Hi, Kim. You're breaking up really badly, so I hope it's my turn to speak. The card that I've chosen or taken from the pack, I pulled a card. There are four suits within the pack. Messages from Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael. Michael gives us the power messages. Raphael, the healing messages. Uriel, messages of how best to serve. And Gabriel, it's all about direction. So I shuffled the pack and I pulled a card. The card is the message from Archangel Michael. So it's perfectly strong and powerful. And we need this power at the moment. We're just about to have the full moon in Leo, as you know, and then Mercury retrograde, as Mark said. So this is a powerful message from Archangel Michael. It's a picture of an angel standing on a beautiful grassy bank, and she's holding a cage in the air, a silver cage. She's opened the door, and out is flying the most beautiful bluebird. The card is a message from the guardian angel of freedom. And this message is saying to all of us that the restrictions that we place on ourselves are just an illusion. And the angel is encouraging us to set ourselves free and to feel the air under our wings and allow ourselves to fly, not to allow any of our thoughts, any of the ego to enclose us in this illusory cage. So the message is freedom, and it's a Michael message giving you power to your wings, power to your own ability to let yourself be free. That's the message.
Oh, I love that, especially with the everything happening with our universe, because it's during those times that it oftentimes brings up all the things that we need to see within ourselves so that we can let that go and experience freedom. I think that that's the one thing sometimes we want just freedom from ourselves, freedom from our thoughts and the limitations and the struggles and all of that stuff. So this weekend, I feel like it's probably going to be a good time for us to really move through those limitations, to acknowledge them when they come up, to not pretend that they're not there, but to move through it, to acknowledge and let it go, so that we can experience that freedom, feel lighter within ourselves. And to be our true self, rather than be the one that everybody expects us to be, which is, trying to please everybody. There is an affirmation for each of these cards, and the affirmation for this particular freedom card is, I choose to be free, to be my true self. And it's all about choice, isn't it? Choosing to feel restricted or choosing to just enjoy the moment and push back, and let ourselves experience life as it truly is meant to be. Yeah, and I find some of the times, even just within myself, that we don't even realize where those restrictions are that we place sometimes, because they're so deeply rooted. But the angels can definitely help us with seeing what it is we need to see, what restrictions we have placed for ourselves, because sometimes we don't even know what we don't know.
Exactly. And of course, Michael, the symbolism of Michael is this huge sword, a as you know, Michael's always carrying a sword. He's always got armor around himself to protect himself. So the symbolism is that Michael will protect us. If we choose to stride out and let go and come out of this cage that we've put ourselves in, then we can call on Michael to protect us if we feel vulnerable. We can use the sword to point us in the right direction and to cut away at the chains that are binding us. So it's great spiritual symbolism from this amazing archangel that gives us such power and allows us to be to empower us to be who we really are without needing to allow other people to take our power away and without imposing our power on other people too. So it's a real balance, which is why he's shown usually in art with a pair of scales. So everybody thinks it's because he weighs up whether we've been good or bad, but actually it's because Archangel Michael shows us that we need to weigh everything. We need to discern. We need to choose which are the choices for us and weigh them up and balance them in our lives. So it's a fabulous energy, and I love that card. I'm really pleased that was the one that popped up.
Yeah, that's a great message for us. Yeah, it's a great message for us, and just understanding how the angels can work with us. Because I think a lot of people don't know, well, do they work with us only in certain circumstances or situations, or can we go to them for anything and everything? I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, I think that at first, when people don't understand how powerful they are, but yet how eager to help us they are, I think people tend to think that unless I'm, they say, oh, am I good enough? Why would the angels help me? They don't understand that they're there for all of us. I ask them to help me so much, and I thank them all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've just moved house, and I literally let go of the decision. The last person to look at our house bought it, and we hadn't even found anywhere to live yet. So it was a question of just trusting, and the right house came up. So I'm really happy with where we found, and I just thank them all the time for placing me in this situation. But, people can ask angels, as you know. People can ask angels, help me to get on better with this colleague at work that keeps upsetting me. Help me to do my job better. Help me to find a job that I'd rather do. Help me to be a better parent. Help me to be wise. Give me my health. All of these things, in our entire life, there are angels to help us. I really wish that people would just trust and ask and know how loved they are, because there is no judgment, as you know. Angels don't judge us. They just help us. They just love
us. That's right. And what I find too is that their energy is very, very light, but there is a whole lot of power behind that lightness, not to be underestimated. The very powerful energy that comes with the lightness. And because I do a little bit of mediumship too, the energy is so different, Mark. I don't know if you experience that too. You're working with people, souls that have passed versus the angels. Like, the angels are so light. When I'm doing mediumship, it takes so much energy, I find, from myself anyways. That's just my experience. It's just different realms that we're working in.
Yeah, my impression when I do mediumship, because mediumship I do a lot of, I get the mannerisms and I get the personality and I get the memories with somebody that was once, incarnated into physical form and then decarnated back into the spiritual form. With angels, in my experience with angels, it's like you guys are talking about. It's that sense of knowing, the presence, the peace, I would say no messages that I get as far as it's just more of just like, I'm here, I'm guiding you, I'm supporting you. And Chrissie, you were talking about Metatron. I remember the first time that I actually witnessed the energy of Metatron was at a Forest Friday hike a few years ago, and we went to a waterfall, about a 3-story waterfall, and we did a meditation at the base of this waterfall. And during the meditation, this angel, 3 stories high, appeared to me, and I was kind of taken back by it, because when you think of the size of angels, there really is no limitation. They can be very small, they can be very tall, and in this case, he was very tall, over 3 stories, and I didn't see him with the physical eye. I saw him, like Kim, what you were saying, with the third eye, standing there as part of the waterfall meditation, which there's a lot of power in water, right? Flowing water, energy, connectivity, and it was very overwhelming for me. Didn't have a message, just his presence alone was like, oh, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's that this light, Kim, that you're talking about, and the presence mark. This is what I've tried to encapsulate in my book, my latest book, 7 Steps into Angel Light, because I want to try and help people to grasp, to actually really understand that light is what we are. Every cell in our body contains light, and every cell in our body, we now know, contains memory and a nucleus that's like a small brain in itself. So each one of those light cells reacts and acts almost with an intelligence that we find difficult to understand. And if we can even begin to understand that we ourselves are made of light, and that everything is made of light, and light is in everything, then we can understand that if you have a real concentration of that, the power and the energy of concentrated light is what each of the angels are. And then they themselves are only an aspect of the magnificence and the size of whatever this universal cosmic energy that we call God is. So for me, it's really fascinating, because finally now, here we are in this amazing age where science and spirituality is beginning to come together. Mm-hmm. And I love it.
They're starting to shake hands, aren't they? Spirituality and science are really starting to shake hands, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it is really, really good. Really good. I had great fun doing some research, because when you're writing anything and then it goes to the editors, and the editors say, well, this is a really good point, but I need some proof for this, please. So then I have to go off and I have to try and do some research, and like you as a medium, or as somebody who's very intuitive and empathic, I find it quite hard to sit down and have to read through reams of stuff on the internet and go through tons of books. I found doing my degree really difficult. The only thing that I helped me was the fact that, because it was comparative religion, I was so fascinated with how angels are in every single cultural belief system, mm-hmm. and that was my take on it. So reading all this stuff meant it was interesting. But to do some research because someone tells me to, I find a real struggle. I've got the angels to help me with that one.
Yeah, and they do cross many borders, and it's, that education leads us to knowledge leads us to wisdom, and the wisdom leads us to, hopefully, some sort of enlightenment. So you have a great background to talk about the angels. And I know, as we get ready to close the show, 2 points. Amongst the millennials, I noticed this as well, that they're really turning to more metaphysical, spiritual, angelic. Is there a reason for that? And also, I want to make sure to get your website out there where people can get your books along with your cards, and the best place to do that before we close the show for today.
Well, to answer your question, I think it's because they're old souls. I've been told so many times that there are no new souls coming through. Everybody's incarnated so many times. And so if that's true, and the millennials are people who have been here so many hundreds of times before, then they're bringing that wisdom with them. And they're not satisfied by just the normal run-of-the-mill, mundane material world. So they bring this with them, and they're seeking it. They're seeking it in this life. But if you want to seek me, you can find me at angellight.co.uk. You can also find me on ChrissieAstell.com. I have a blog page on ChrissieAstell.com, and YouTube, Facebook, I'm just learning Instagram, so I'm not going to advertise that one yet until I get it right. I'm on LinkedIn and on Twitter. So all of those ways. But angellight.co.uk is my main website, and I'd love to answer any questions that people might have. They're very, very welcome to write to me at Chrissie@angellight.co.uk.
It is that documentary you did, Chrissie, is that on your YouTube?
No, that's not. There are lots of talks that I've done. The launch of the new book, 7 Steps into Angel Light, is on YouTube. It's also on the Watkins Bookstore YouTube page too. I do have my own YouTube page, but most of the stuff I've got, my story of the angel is also on my website. So people can go and watch that. I think that's on too.
It's just that angels are everywhere. That BBC documentary on angels sounded very interesting. Something I definitely want to check out.
That was BBC 2, which was quite a fantastic opportunity. That was a girl who was doing a PhD in angelology, and she created the whole program, and I was part of it. I was very pleased to be part of that. That was super work. Yeah, I love it.
Well, awesome. Well, there's our music. Chrissie, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and guidance with us today. A lot of fun. I'd like to have you back for a part 2, continue this conversation, maybe pick up a different portion of the knowledge and education around angels. But thank you so much. Please visit Chrissie's website. Thank you for being a guest today on Inspired Living Radio. We appreciate it. You are the inspired and the inspiration. Until next time, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Have a great week, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.